Saudi Arabian clubs have spent big, bringing in some of the greatest names in football. Supposedly, Saudi are also in talks with UEFA to have a team enter the Champions League, which got me thinking. How well would Saudi clubs do in the Premier League? So one at a time, we'll move the 4 Saudi clubs who were essentially taken over by the PIF to England and simulate the season to find out where they come. First up, it's Ronaldo's Al Nassr, who have also brought in Sadio Mane, Aymeric Laporte and Brozovic, just to name a few. If anyone's going to do well, it is Al Nassr, who the game are predicting to finish in 8th place. However, by the end of the season, manager Luis Castro was replaced by Brendan Rodgers, which suggests things haven't quite gone to plan. Al Nassr lost to Norwich in the EFL Cup third round and lost to Manchester United in the FA Cup quarter-final. As for the Premier League, well, it's higher than I thought they were going to be. They're in 12th place, which is a fairly respectable position. They were predicted to come in 9th place, but those pre-season predictions are all based on players' current ability, and of course, with the stars they've got, that is pretty high. However, the rest of the team isn't that great, so that's going to drag their average down, and if a few star players get injured or suspended, that will drop them down the table a bit, because the rest of the team, I imagine, aren't really Premier League current ability ready. But they have finished above some decent sides like Brighton and Crystal Palace, and that has caught me off guard. Ronaldo ended up as a top scorer with 18 goals in all competitions, and Brozovic had the most assists with 8. But now it's time for a bit of comparison and scientific work. I also want to see how these Saudi clubs would do in FIFA. That way we can see if one game rates the Saudi clubs a lot higher than the other. Then we can all debate about how wrong or right they are in the comment section down below. Also, the comment section is right below that like and subscribe button, so make sure you press those on your way down. So in FIFA, Al Nassr lost in the second round of the League Cup on penalties to Leyton Orient. They also lost in the 4th round of the FA Cup to Liverpool, but in the Premier League, they've come in 8th place, to be fair, which is a lot higher than I'd expect. So FM and FIFA have averaged out at 10th place overall, which is mid-table. I don't think Al Nassr would do that well in real life. Next up is Benzema's Al Ittihad, who are predicting Football Manager to come in 14th place. I think that's a little bit high given the fact they only brought in Benzema, Fabinho, Jota and Kante. I mean, they're all great players, but there's only 4 of them. Manager Nuno Espirito Santo was also sacked midway through the season, so that also suggests they've not had a great season. They were knocked out of the League Cup third round by Tottenham and the FA Cup third round to Blackburn Rovers of the Championship, but they just stay in the Premier League, beating West Ham by a single point to avoid the drop. I was expecting this lot to get relegated, but they've avoided it just, so fair play to them. Benzema scored 14 goals in all competitions, and I would have expected more from him, especially as he's there to carry the attack. Jota with his 5 goals and 6 assists isn't bad, but I would have expected a little bit more. Although if their teammates around them aren't capable of playing in the Premier League, of course, they aren't going to score too many goals. As for their counterparts on FIFA, they lost in the quarter-finals of the Carabao Cup and suffered a defeat in the 4th round of the FA Cup. Although I would like to point out that Accrington Stanley made the final of the FA Cup. Perhaps Blackpool could have won it if they'd beaten Accrington in the semi-finals. As for the Premier League, they finished in 10th place, which again feels way too high, especially when they're 7 points off Newcastle United, who've got European football. Okay, up next is Neymar's Al Hilal, who probably have the most impressive lineup out of the 4 teams, and they're predicted to come in 8th place. However, the manager has once again been sacked mid-season and been replaced by Brendan Rodgers for the 2nd time. Is this just a sign that Brendan Rodgers is going to join a Saudi club in real life? Al Hilal lost to Oxford United in the 3rd round of the League Cup and got to the 5th round of the FA Cup where they lost to Wolves. They're getting revenge for Al Hilal taking Ruben Neves with that result. In the Premier League, they finished down in 14th place, with Neymar's 13 goals in all competitions being rather underwhelming. In fact, pretty much all of their players had a poor season, which is a surprise because if this team was in the Premier League and the starters stayed fit, I actually think they'd do pretty well. Not as high as 14th, I think they'd be fighting in that relegation battle, but it would still be a good team. In FIFA, they lost in the League Cup 2nd round to Bolton, but have somehow won the FA Cup, beating Man United on what? And then in the Premier League, they came 5th. Oh, okay. I mean, I did say this Al Hilal side was pretty strong, but there's no way they win the FA Cup or come 5th in the Premier League. That's just not happening. Surely I'm not the only one who thinks that. Finally, we'll look at Riyad Mahrez's Al Ahly, who are predicted to come in 17th in the table in Football Manager. Worth noting there's no FIFA comparison here because Al Ahly have just been promoted from the second division in real life, so they're not actually in FIFA yet. This time though, the manager wasn't sacked, which is a good sign for the club, but they did lose to Port Vale in the second round of the League Cup. They also lost to Preston North End in the FA Cup 4th round replay, and actually came 17th in the Premier League, 4 points clear of the relegation zone. Alan St-Maximin and Firmino both scored 11 goals across the season. Mahrez is the real disappointment with only 3 goals and 6 assists. I think that both Football Manager and FIFA have overestimated how good the Saudi Arabian clubs actually are. Yes, they do have some incredible individual players, but the entire squads are nowhere near Premier League level. Yet. Saudi Arabia isn't going to become a repeat of China. If you recall, for a few years, China were the country and the league buying up a ton of players for big money and putting them on some massive wages. They even bought a bunch of clubs around Europe, and that was kind of their way of trying to project some soft power on the world, but then they realised that building a bunch of infrastructure in other places was way more effective than buying football clubs and players. As a result of that, they just stopped trying with football basically, which is why you don't see anyone go to China for big money anymore. Saudi Arabia is trying to get its economy away from oil, and one way they're doing that is by trying to become the hub for sporting events. They've basically taken over golf, they've got loads of boxing there, and an F1 race, and of course now football is the next part of that plan. I don't think we're going to stop buying talented players anytime soon. The next 3, 4, 5 years, they're going to have a bunch of high quality players playing in that league. Now don't get me wrong, I do think this is just blatant sports washing, and of course the Saudi Arabian government have done some abhorrent things. But as long as they can keep offering some big wages to players which turns their big salaries into generational wealth, they're going to keep doing it and players are still going to move there. And as a result, one day there really could be a Saudi Arabian club that could win the Premier League. And on that note, to cheer you up, how about you watch this video instead, where I save Harry Kane's career and legacy in FIFA. It is way more upbeat than the ending of this video, so give it a watch right here.